What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Real Talk Podcast. Thank you for tuning back in. I appreciate the love and support. It is your host, Zanir Johnson. The other day I saw something, and I didn't even realize how true it was until I really did some research, that more than 50% of this world's population doesn't even have $1,000 saved in like a bank account or in a savings account or just having that in cash. That's blasphemy to live in this world, in this economy where we are not set up for success, but when we're really set up to be a business, when you really think about it, where and a government uses its people for business. Like it's mind-blowing. But at the same time, I think that because this has been happening for so long, I get curious as to why people have not chose to set up their own way of earning income and understanding that you need multiple streams of income. So, just having one job isn't going to cut it. Like, to survive, literally to survive in today's day and age, you need to have at minimum 3 streams of income. 3 streams of income just to get by. That's with food, gas, your car notes, bills, rent, all that, like the basic necessities of what you need to live. 3 jobs. Or a set income that's giving you more than $5,000-$6,000 a month. So when you really think about the situations we're all in and the economy and how we just had this whole, I'm gonna just say not had, but this pandemic, because now we got the monkeypox. So you know what I mean? Like, after one thing is always another thing, and so it makes you really think about, like, what are they setting up? Like, what are the intentions, and where is this really going? Like, what is the point of even having all of this? And just why are not people prepared? Why have they not learned their lessons? Look at the history books. It's told us, like, look at the Black Plague that took place, right? And then you also had you had the Great Depression. You had literally the world has crashed. The economy has crashed several times, and yet people still have not learned their lessons. We've been through several recessions, and people have yet to learn their lesson. And I think what saddens me is that my generation we really lack financial education, and I think people start to become emotional when it comes to their finances. Therefore, they don't have finances. And let me tell you why I say that. Because if you are emotional with money, money is not an emotional thing. It's a tangible thing. So if you want to obtain it, you must do whatever it takes to get it. You know what I mean? Like, I understand at times you have to sacrifice. You may not be able to do what you love in the beginning, but do something that's going to allow you to get into that position where you can start putting your foot into that atmosphere, or where you can start, diving into that career you want. But at the same time, you don't have to worry about if your bills are paid, if you can put food on the table, if your children are good. Like, you don't got to worry about if your lights are going to get cut off. I think something that people lack to understand is that in order to get, you have to give. And so you have to be willing to sacrifice, and sacrifice can look different for every single person. I think that's where a lot of people become so emotional, because they don't want to let things go. They don't want to do things different. They don't want to do what it takes to get what they want, but they want what they want without putting in the work. So faith without work is dead. So family, you have to understand, like, just because we want to be passionate and we want to do what we love every single day and wake up every morning, but at the same time you're struggling. You don't have to be struggling. This is a world full of fortune. Like, there's so much out here for us to do, to live, to experience, to earn. It should not be 1 to 5% of the world's population is generating the most income. Look how many people are on this planet. It's over 7 billion people. I think we have to really take the time to focus on the fact that, what are we doing for the generation to come? Like, financial literacy is something that is not, from what I see and my experience, something not taught in families and in homes, because grandparents weren't educated, then mom and dad weren't educated, then mom and dad didn't educate kids, and then it passes on, it continues and continues. And so it's kind of like, where does it start and where does it stop? Where are you going to start teaching your kids about financial literacy? Or where are you going to stop teaching them about mediocrity? Because I'm not knocking people. I think the one thing I can never understand is, how can we be so judgmental towards people who chose to become wealthy? How can we say they're ignorant, or they're egotistical, or they're greedy because they want what's best for not only them but for their family? you have to understand that money most people don't chase money just to have it. They chase it for the freedom that it allows them to have. When you have wealth, when you have financial freedom, you have the ability to do so much more, to give so much more, to inspire so much more, to experience so much more. And you only believe what you experience, family. So if you're not allowing yourself to be put in a position where, okay, well, I'm going to work hard for what I want. I'm going to do something that's different. I'm going to break this generational curse. I'm going to start, this trust. I'm going to become more financially educated so that I can change the path and trajectory of my kids and my kids' kids and my kids' Like, you have to understand that it's not about just you. Your ambition and your ability to educate yourself on financial literacy is not about you, and it's so much more than you. It's beyond you. And I think we have to also understand that financial literacy isn't necessarily, it's weird to say this, but it's not for us. It's for those to come, those we birth and bring into this world. Because if we don't know what to do with the dollar, what are we going to do? How can we teach them what to do? So then they're going to live what we've lived. They're going to experience what we experienced. And at the same time, you have to think about it. Do you want your kids to struggle? Do you want them to have to live paycheck to paycheck? Do you want them to have to experience not being able to put food on the table? Do you want them to have to experience looking at their child and telling them, no, mommy and daddy can't get this for you because we have no money? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to be put in those positions. And I can speak on this because, y'all, my family have been homeless twice before we finally realized what we were doing wrong. Even though the first time I was way younger and I didn't really understand, but like, we lived in this big house and we lost everything. Like, when I tell you everything, we had to be moved out in the matter of 24 hours. And this is a massive home with a pool, and we all had our own rooms. And when I tell you, I was just shook. We moved from this big house to this tiny apartment, and then we couldn't even afford the apartment. And then we ended up living with my uncle, and he kicked us out. So we were only with him for like a month. And then we moved into my mom's friend's home, who took us in for about 3 to 6 months. But I went away to Florida State University in the middle of that time, and my family was here grinding. Like, we all were doing what we need to do, because when I would get financial aid or refunds or whatever, I would immediately send it back to my family, like, yo, okay, so what do we need now? What can we do now? How can I help y'all while I'm up here? I started working 2-3 jobs while I was there. So any refund money I would get, I would send it directly to them, and I would save my work money for me, or I would even send them extra money. I didn't have to ask people for food, but at the same time, I had such a beautiful spirit that people were blessing me with, let me treat you, or if my roommates cooked, they cooked for all of us, or if their parents came over, they bought food for all of us. And so I wasn't one of those kids who, when it was time to shop for college, I went all out. I went to college with a blanket and a whole bunch of Dollar Tree toiletries. And at the same time, it's crazy, now that I think about it, I wasn't even upset. Like, I wasn't bitter. I was still ecstatic to even go to college, to be able to experience this, to be on my own. And like, I did not care that I didn't have no money. I didn't care that we didn't have no money as a family. And it's just crazy to see how we really dove in and took control of our financial literacy, because my parents were financially smart. They were not, I think at that point, I recall them saying they just weren't emotionally smart with their money at the same time. They let it get to them. They let themselves get comfortable. Therefore, we lost everything. So your comfort zone, family, that is your broke zone. And I think when you realize that's a place where you dwell and you settle, and your comfortability is what's going to keep you in the position you're in, which means you're not going to always be fulfilled or happy. And fulfilled could just be simply being able to do what you want to do, when you want to do it, how you want to do it, without somebody telling you what to do. And I've realized over the time, I've done several things. I've done network marketing. I've done the 9-to-5. I've done entrepreneurship. Well, I'm doing the entrepreneurship, and I work for my family. We have a business of our own. And so to see where we've come from to now, where it's like the complete opposite, and to see how we've been able to learn from our situation and bless others, and how the blessings continue to come onto us, understanding that if we hadn't taken the time to learn all these things, and if we actually, honestly, if we hadn't even experienced what we experienced, I don't think we would have ever figured out what we needed to figure out and learn what we needed to learn and become who we needed to become, and so honestly, our homelessness brought us all closer together, which is wild to me, because even in the midst of being homeless, we still found joy, we still found peace, we still found the love of God, and we were able to really pursue and just became closer and tougher as a family, and our circle just got so much tighter, because we knew we were in this together. Because if our own family could turn their back on us, who else is out there for us? Nobody's going to do this for us. We got to figure it out. We got ourselves into the situation, so now we have to figure it out. I realized that my generation is very, like I said, emotional. Therefore, every decision is emotionally based. And that's where you start to go wrong with your finances, because your money doesn't care about how you feel. Your bank account doesn't care about how you feel. Your bills don't care about how you feel. You have residual bills, but you don't have residual income. So to me, it's kind of like we're not, or passive income. And so when we don't educate ourselves, let me go back. Residual income is simply just like your bills. Every single month, you have your rent that comes the first of the month, right? Another bill could be your phone bill, right? Your residual income is simply the same, just income. You have money that's coming to you every week or every 2 weeks or every month. Yeah, you may have a job, but what I'm saying with the difference with the residual income is that it can continuously increase. It can decrease, it can increase, it can maximize, it can minimize. Whereas with a job, which is nothing, y'all, there's nothing wrong with having a job. Let me get this clear. There's nothing wrong with having a job, I promise you. But there is something wrong with only having a job. I think that's where people start to get defensive. Well, what if I like my job? That's okay. Like, it's okay to like your job. I'm not knocking you. I loved my job when I worked at Disney. I actually cried when I had to leave. I was a PhotoPass photographer, and then I worked with the characters. Well, I was a character. And so for me, it was like, it was really emotional because it was within my passion. I love performance and music and all this stuff and dance. And so I thought, wow, like, man, I got to leave this and this and that. But I left to go to school to pursue even further more of my passion. But at the same time, when I really think about it, I was working all those hours and all that time, but I still was making bare minimum. Like, if I was making what I made back then right now, I could not afford to live on my own. I would not be able to afford the car that I drive. I would not be able to afford the life that I live. And it's not like I live this, let me not say that because I'm going to speak that into my life. I do live an abundant life, but I don't have this extravagant, like, billionaire lifestyle status yet. You know what I mean? And I think when we start to say, oh, well, people are arrogant or selfish or they're greedy because they want to chase wealth, I think that makes us look arrogant. That makes us look uneducated, because why would you not want wealth? In a sense of, let me clear this up, because I know some people are going to try to come back and be combative and argue. When you chase wealth for the right reasons, not to gain all this wealth and be greedy and be rude and let it change you for the worse, but to gain wealth and be a giver and to give back and to be able to change lives and impact lives, not only just your family, but those out there who need us. Like, wealth is giving you the freedom. Honestly, I've heard this before. Money changes you. If you're a bad person, it'll show even more of how much you're a bad person. If you're a good person, it'll show even more of how you're a good person. So it's really not even about the money. It's about who you are as a person. So whether you have a little bit of money or a lot of money, if you're good or if you're bad, that's what's going to show. So I think that's where we have to get that notion that, okay, it's wealthy people aren't rude. Wealthy people aren't ignorant. Wealthy people aren't, I don't know, greedy, whatever. I think that blows my mind a lot, because I've met the good and bad kind of wealthy people, but at the same time, they still had the intentions of good. And you also have to realize that when God blesses a person, it's also, what have they asked for? What have they spoke out into their life? What have they, been on their knees crying for? You can't knock what somebody else has, because you don't know the work that they put in, or you don't know the prayers that they prayed or the tears that they cried. So if you're not willing to go through what they went through, to take the steps that they took, or to go through the trenches like they went through the trenches, you cannot knock a person for having the wealth and success that they have. That is one thing I will never agree with. I don't care how ignorant you think they are or how wealthy they are. They may be like that now, but they went through what they went through to get what they have. And you have to at some point as an adult, respect that. Like, respect the hustle, respect the grind. We say it all the time, but do we really do it? Like, oh, well, that person has this. Like, don't be envious of a person. Ask questions. How did you do it? How did you get here? How can I get me and my family here? How can I make a difference? How can I be that person to break that generational curse in my family? My mother is the baby of 15 and she was the generational curse breaker. Like, she is the person in my entire family that said, you know what, I'm going to be set out to be different. My kids are going to be set up to be different. I'm going to teach them everything I wasn't taught, but I'm also going to teach them how to be a proper woman, because it's 3 girls, we're all girls. I'm going to teach them how to be the proper woman, how to live in this life, to have people respect you, to love you, but also grind and do what you need to do and get your shit together. So at the same time, it's like, I know everybody doesn't have those parents in their life to do that for them, but if you ever have the ability to surround yourself with people who can push you further, who can help you get to your next level, shut up and listen. Literally shut up and listen. Stop wanting to hear yourself talk. Stop trying to worry about what you've been through and your past traumas and all the things that, oh, well, life is hard. Life is going to continue to be hard because you're allowing it to be hard. You're worrying about things you can no longer change. If it is something you can't change, why are you worried about it? I get things happen to us. I'm not saying you forget it, but you don't let it change you for the worse. Let it change you for the better. Use it as a stepping stone. Use it as a tool to say, you know what? I'm not who they say I am. I'm not who they want me to be. I am who God says I am. I am who God says I'm supposed to be. Therefore, I'm going to walk within that. I'm going to live within that. I'm not going to go and do this and do that and have people call me. It's to the point where I have experienced so many people that have given me so many excuses as to why they aren't where they want to be, and yet none of them make sense to me. Only because they are in their own way. When you choose to continue to be in your own way, you will forever remain where you are. When you choose to no longer be a student of life, you will remain where you are. When you choose to remain comfortable and settle, you will always remain where you are. So therefore, you should not even allow yourself to be envious or jealous of what somebody else has or is able to do, because you're not willing to step out of that box and say, you know what, I am more than this. You're not stepping out of that box to say, you know what, I am worth more than this. You're not stepping out of that box to say, this is not what God has for me, or whoever you believe in has for you. When you understand that what you were put on this earth to do, that is the day your life is going to change. When you choose to say, you know what, I'm going to do things different. My kids deserve different. Excuse me. My life deserves different. I deserve different. Excuse me. I had like a shake before this, but it's interesting for me because I like to really look at how people prioritize their life and their money and their finances and their decisions. And a lot of people prioritize spending over saving, and saving could look different. And I say this because you can save in a sense of investing. Technically, that's savings to me. If you invest your money and it's in an account that continuously growing or has continuously growing interest or whatever, I still consider that a savings account, because maybe 5-10 years from now, that can be way more, triple, quadruple, quintuple, you know what I mean? Way more than what it is right now. So that's still technically a savings that you didn't even have to continuously touch and put money into. Or you have a savings account with your bank, or you have cash that you have stashed up. Like, stop allowing yourself to have excuses as to why you can't save money. Life is not, everybody has the ability to save at least $1 a day, or have the ability to save at least $1 a month. Let me say that, because everybody's jobs are different. So don't come jumping at me. But what I'm saying is, everybody has the ability to save at least $1 a day, $1 a month, excuse me. That's $12 a year. That's more than what you have saved in last year. But that's how it starts. If you can't embrace and see the vision in the small, you will never get to the big. If you can't believe and have faith in the fact that, okay, well, I know if I just continue to do this for the next 2 to 3 years, the next 5-6 years, the next 7-10 years, it's going to be way more than what you started with. If you don't have patience for your success and your growth and your finances, it's going to pass you by. I promise you, the money isn't chasing you, so stop chasing it. Don't chase the money. Chase the impact that's going to come, that's going to give you the money. Chase those sources of I'm gonna say income and education that's gonna provide you the income you want. This is where people get wealth twisted. You don't chase the income. You chase what you can impact. You do what you can to impact. Therefore, the wealth is going to come to you. You know why? Because you're giving. Whether you're giving money, your time, your effort, your ability, your skills, your love, your heart, whatever you have, you're giving. Therefore, God is going to continuously and always reward you. They always say the man who does more than what he is paid for will always be rewarded. And to me, I for a while I was like, man, that's just BS. But it really is the truth. And y'all have to understand, when you're on your job, how you do anything is how you do everything. So when you're on your job, let's say you're at your 9 to 5 at McDonald's and you're half-assing your job, just know that same energy and that same characteristic is going to carry over to when you try to open up your own business. You're going to do a half-ass job and you're going to get half-ass income. Then you're going to be mad and be like, damn, I got a half-ass life. So understand that this is how you do anything is how you do everything. So when you're at a job, even if you don't like the job, give it your absolute best. Give it 100,000%. I'm telling y'all, this changed the game for me. I used to, for a while, I had to have everything. Like, I'm so serious. Like, I used to be like, okay, well, I'm gonna give a little bit of me here. I'm gonna give a little bit of me there. I'm gonna give a little bit of me here. Blah, 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 blah. And so, when I realized that, okay, when I'm on the job, I'm on the job. I'm focused. I'm doing my absolute best. Once I clock out and I leave that job, whatever I got going on next, cool, my business. When I'm at my business meeting, I'm giving my full 100%. The moment I walk out of there, cool. If I'm in my relationship, all right, I'm giving my relationship all of me right now. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, how you do anything is how you do everything. And it carries over to everything you do. All the way up to how you raise your kids. If you half-assing at your job, you're going to half-ass raise your kids. And then you're going to wonder why they disrespect you. It plays a part. Your character, this is a part of who you are. It's not just, I made a decision because I don't really like this job. No, that's just who you are. That's just genuinely who you are. If you're okay with that, then I'm not going to knock you. But you have to really prioritize saving over spending. And, understand that you don't have to spend money every week. You don't have to spend money on things that are a liability versus an asset. Understand a liability is something that is causing a hurt. I'm gonna kind of break this down like really in a like simple term. Liability is something that's breaking your pocket, that's putting you in a bind or stressing. I'm gonna say like putting stress on your finances. Whereas an asset is something that is literally adding value to what you're doing, or over time will accumulate value or income for you. So you really understand the difference. Now, also understanding taxes and how tax write-offs work, and understanding how that, let's say you have a business. When you do things with the intention of your business, you can write that off. So let's say I have a business and I take out my staff members to lunch. That is an intentional business meeting because I took my staff out and we discussed what our business plans were. If I buy clothes for work, that is a tax write-off because that is intentional. I am buying this specifically for work. A car, if you buy a car that year, doesn't matter what kind of car it is, and you work and you have to transport yourself from A to B and B to A or whatever it is, that is also considered a tax write-off because you have to have transportation for your job. You intentionally purchased your car for your job. It can be with anything. Honestly, right now, my LLC, not my LLC, yeah, my LLC, I'm tripping. My LLC, anything that I purchased for it, I can say, you know what, this was intentionally for my LLC. Even all the way up to a monitor, to a camera, a mic, or whatever. Anything that I have that's used towards that, if it has the intention, family, it is a tax write-off. Keyword intention, with the fact that it is connected to that, right? So hopefully that's just a tip for y'all. Like, really dive into understanding what you can write off on taxes. That can help you a lot. I also learned that find something, it may sound a little crazy, but find something big that you can purchase throughout the year or within the year, and next year write it off. Therefore, for example, I purchased a brand new car at the beginning of 2021 and I was able to write it off in 2022. Therefore, I barely had any taxes to pay. You see what I'm saying? Along with other things that I wrote off. So there's also a man named Grant Cardone. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. Look him up, Google him, whatever. Follow him on social media. He's a very, very, very wealthy man. I remember hearing him say on one of his audios or his videos and saying, One year, his accountant, I believe, came to him and said, "Hey, you have a lot to pay in taxes, maybe like a couple 100,000 in taxes." And he said, "Absolutely not." He says he hates paying the IRS. He will never ever pay the IRS. I'm not saying like do this all your life, but if you have the ability to do this, do this. He said he made a big purchase, which was his jet. His jet was it had an intention for his business because it was doing marketing. He put his business logo, the 10X logo, all over the jet. Therefore, he would fly in it everywhere. He would post about it, show it, and it did better marketing for his company than all his social media posts has ever done. So he showed that. He said, you know what? Okay, well, I'm going to buy this jet at the very end of the year, which he did. He bought it the last week of the year, and therefore the next year he was able to write it off, and it literally covered all of his taxes. He was able to write it all off, and he didn't even owe the IRS anything. So you have to be financially smart when you're also making investments, purchases, keeping your receipts if you're one of those people, or or being able to like write out and all the things that you can write off. If y'all really want to know more, honestly, we could message me and we can talk about it. Like, these are things that I really need people to know. Understanding that those STEMIs and those unemployment checks, oh man, I understand that y'all enjoyed them. Some actually used them properly. Some went out and bought TVs and things that they can't afford, in the sense of, if you can't buy it twice, you can't afford it. Some people say if you can't even go in there and buy it 10 times, you can't afford it. So really understanding that, okay, that money was for you to invest into yourself and your family and position yourselves for something greater. That wasn't to go blow off on TVs. Like, I remember one time during the pandemic, I went in there to get a brand new TV for my apartment because I was moving, and I had roommates and all that, and we were at Walmart to get a TV, and literally there was no TVs left. And they were like, yeah, well, everybody came in here and bought TVs since they just dropped the STEMIs. And I'm like, wait, what? I said, wait, people actually wasted their STEMI money on a TV? See, the difference between me and them was I had worked for my money. I saved my money to get that TV. And then God blessed us with somebody paying for our TV. So we went in there with the intention to buy our TV, but somebody else literally blessed us and purchased our TV because we were moving into a new apartment. And, God was good. But my point is, they were using money that didn't even technically belong to them to go buy things that they can't even afford. Like, it mathematically and just in life, that doesn't make any kind of common sense. So financially, that's just where people start off wrong. Stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. Stop trying to live this lavish life or live this life over social media, but you're really struggling in real life. It's not worth it. If anything, if you're struggling, just don't post. Just don't. Stop flexing, stop pretending, stop capping. Like, it's not even cute anymore. Like, genuinely, truly, it's not even cute anymore. I understand that whites literally leave a legacy for their families. Like, I'm not trying to bring a race thing, and I'm also looking something up while I'm talking to y'all. But whites, meaning the white culture, we look at them like they crazy, and they rule all the world, and they rule all the money, and they have all the wealth. That's because they chose to. We can have it too. We just don't choose to do what they do. Most white cultures and families leave legacies for their kids. They don't leave them debt. They don't leave them bills. They don't leave them they don't leave them struggles. They leave them wealth and financial literacy and just trust funds and abundance and bonds and all these different things. Like, they literally educate themselves on how to make sure their families and the generations to come of their families are taken care of. They're not over here worried about who baby mama this and who baby mama that. And I'm not trying to be stereotypical, but understand that the most people with the least amount of money are the people that look like me. So I want us to understand that we need to stop being emotional with our money, right? I mean, let me look something up for y'all real quick. And I want y'all to understand that this isn't me coming for people. This is literally me educating y'all and sharing my opinion on what I've learned in life and how it has changed my life. I never cared about my finances for a long time. I never cared. I didn't understand how important it was. Like, I never understood how important it was. Okay, y'all. So I want y'all to understand something that I've learned. If you've ever heard of the man named Jim Rohn, right? something that not only changed the trajectory from my family, like my mom, because she's told me this plenty of times, but also for myself. And I've learned this a while ago, and it has changed how I save money, how I make money, how I look at money, how I move money, how I invest it, all of that, right? So he expressed how he spent $1, like how to spend $1. This is what he would teach his kids when they were younger, and this is his philosophy for just any amount of income that you earn, right? Actually, I wrote it down for y'all so I don't get it wrong, because I want y'all to get this, right? So with $1, right, we have a whole dollar. You shouldn't really be spending more than 70% of the dollar, meaning 70% of your income, right? 70 cents in the sense because it's $1. Just follow the the metaphors, please. So in the sense of it's a full dollar, you should not be spending more than 70 cents of that dollar, right? But there's 30 cents left. So what do we do with that? We have the next 10 cents, right, which is the next 10% of your income, should go to charity or church. You should be putting it in tithes and offering. And this is something that should be like, it's kind of in a sense of teaching you character, teaching you generosity, teaching you how to be a giving person, because in order to receive, you got to give. It's the same thing in life as well when it comes to respect and love. In order to receive it, you got to give it, right? And then you also have 10% active capital. Active capital, which is simply you invest your money and let somebody use it in a sense of like an entity, but you take part in that entity, and therefore you're earning an income, active income off of that entity, that investment that you made. So let me see if I can get an example. Let's say you purchase a home or something, right? And I choose to invest into you and say, you know what, I'm going to help you invest into this home. Therefore, this home is going to generate us some income. I'm also partaking in what brings us the income and the use of this home, right? Then you have the last 10%, which is passive capital. So the other one was active capital, and then you have passive capital, which is where you also invest and let somebody use it, but more like banks and investment companies and like investing into stocks and having these portfolios. Therefore, it's more passive. You don't have to really do anything. It's going to just happen on its own. You can literally close your eyes, go to sleep, and it will happen for you. That's what we also call passive income. So there we have the full dollar. You've literally used it. It's a simple formula, but it has helped when it comes to sorting out percentages of your money. So every time you get a paycheck, you should be sorting it out 70, 10, 10, 10, right? 70, 10, 10, 10. That's 70, 10, 10, 10. I'm going to say it again because you have to understand this will literally change how you save money. This will change how your bank account looks. This will change how you move in life. When you start saving money, you don't care about how people feel. You don't care about how people look at you or how they try to treat you, because you know you got yourself. One thing your money will never do is turn its back on you, right? One thing its money will do is never turn its back on you, but you also want to learn those extra 10%, because understand that wage makes a living, but profit makes a fortune. You know what I mean? Like money makes a living, but wage makes a living, So like your minimum wage, your job wage, well, it'll make you a living, and it'll help you, get by on your bills, but profit makes you a fortune. This will continuously help you get to that next level or increase your income in ways that your wage can't, because understand a wage is something that doesn't increase really, maybe by 20, 30 cents, 35 cents at max in some companies, right? Or maybe $1. So depending on if your company is really generous, but at the same time, your profit is continuously increasing no matter what it is. So if I invest $5 now, my profit may be $10. Therefore, okay, now that I got $10, I'm going to invest another $5. Hopefully I gain another $10. Now I got $20. You know what I'm saying? Well, $30. But then let's say this. Okay, I invest $100 and my profit comes back $2,000. Right? For those who trade Forex, right? Day trading. When you invest, you can invest up to however much you want, or as little as $1 or $10, depending on your broker, right? And your profit could go from, it could be negative. You could lose those $10, or is it worth getting in that trade and saying, you know what, my possibility of profit is 10, not 10, I invested $10, but my profit could possibly be $100, $200, $1,000, all because you simply chose to invest that. You see what I'm saying? So understanding that, investing and allowing compound, that's the active capital. Allowing money to compound for you is really just what active capital is, and then you have the passive capital and all that. So hopefully that was helpful to y'all. That kind of really helped me and my family with a lot of things and how we save money and move money. His name again is Jim Rohn. If you want to take a listen, there are audios on YouTube, or you can listen to him on SoundCloud, anywhere. Read his listen to his audios, and also just really digest the information he's giving. Take notes and go through them, read them, apply them. The worst the worst thing is like to be informed about something and then to not apply it, because now you're just choosing not to do it versus not knowing about it. You see what I'm saying? Like, the best knowledge is applied knowledge. I can learn something, but if I don't apply it, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of my energy. And I think people really have to understand, like, financial literacy is something that has really been a lack of education in all communities, I'm gonna just say, because we have to really choose to say, you know what, I want different from my family, I want different from my kids, I want different from my whoever, you know what I mean? And it goes back to what I was saying in the sense of whites leave legacies versus black families. And I see a lot of black families struggle day in and day out, and you say, no, I want to get my mom out the struggle. This is not. That's because their parents didn't leave them anything. They didn't give them any education. They didn't inform them of any type of financial literacy in the way of, or they didn't have access to it. Let me say that, okay? Because a lot of people's lives are different. Everybody is different. And so you don't know what you don't know, but once you know, it is up to you to do something about it. And if you choose not to, that's up to you. We are all born into this world naked and broke, but if you leave it that way, that's on you. You see what I'm saying? So understand that you have the ability to do something with that and time, that in between, from the beginning and the end. And if you don't do anything with it, that's going to be on you. What legacy you leave, and legacy doesn't even have to be fortune. This is what people get misconstrued. A legacy doesn't have to be a lot of money. A legacy could be a business. A legacy could be a type of mindset. A legacy could be a heart posture. A legacy could be anything, really. You know what I'm saying? Like, and my favorite is the mindset. If I could pass on my mindset to my kids, at least I know they will have something to run with. You know what I'm saying? To say, you know what, mom always said, you know what, I could do this, I could do that, I should do it this way. When I tell you, there is never going to be a moment where I choose not to educate myself or continuously push myself to know more, because there's always going to be more challenges to come that I won't even have to face, but my kids will have to face, and their kids will have to face. You see what I'm saying? Pick up books that can educate you. Right now, I'm rereading Atomic Habits, and it's really, really good. I loved it. But other books that help me really understand financial literacy is what's it called? Rich Dad, Poor Dad. A Man in Babylon. I'm sorry, I read that one a long time ago, but I have a lot of notes on it. I'm pretty sure it's let me double check, because I don't want to get that wrong for y'all. It's literally right in my office. Let me see. The Richest Man in Babylon. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. The Richest Man in Babylon. The Richest Man in Babylon. By George S. Clason. Excuse me. The Richest Man in Babylon and Rich Dad Poor Dad were the best two, literally the greatest financial books I've ever read. Me personally, like, specifically about finances, in the sense of how much control we have over them, and the fact that a lot of people could have so much more wealth if they just opened their mouth, and if they just put the work in. So pick up those books, y'all. Like, literally go check them out, go read them, take your time. Even if you gotta read a page a day, 10 pages a day, doesn't matter, as long as you're getting that knowledge and that information in. Read it at your own pace. I got them from Barnes and Nobles for a really, really good price. They're fairly cheap. I think I got the Rich Dad Poor Dad for like $7.99, and I got the I keep saying dad, The Richest Man in Babylon for about $11. So these books are sitting there on the shelves. You just have to go in there, pick them up, and read them. Like, this is our world, and I've noticed that if we don't seek the information, we will never be taught the information. We will never be taught the skill. And the craziest thing is, they know a lot of people won't go educate themselves. People will rather sit on TikTok, scroll through reels on Instagram, and post comedy videos. And that's okay. Like, a good laugh, trust me, everybody knows me. I love a good laugh, right? I love a good laugh. But at the same time, understand that I'm not going to also play about my finances. I'm not going to waste time and lack knowledge in things that I know is going to carry me through. You see what I'm saying? I got to make sure my home is good. I got to make sure my family is good. I got to make sure my future family is good. So when you are in predicaments where you can educate yourself, and even if you're not, you still have the ability to, if you have a phone, you have no excuse. Right? If you have a library card, you have no excuse. If you have people around you who are succeeding in anything, you have no excuse. Because why? All you simply have to say is, how do you do it? What have you been doing? And how can I do it? Can you teach me how to do it? Don't be ignorant. Don't say, oh, well, I can't, life is just too hard. I can't do it. The more you put these words in your vocabulary, the more they will come to life. Like, honestly, life and death is in the power of the tongue. We all hear this. We all have heard this in church, but you have to understand, the more you say you can't do something, the more you're going to attract that inability to do it. The more you say, I don't got it like that, or this, well, you're not going to have it like that. Or the more you say, like, well, they were I've had somebody say to me before, oh, well, you were just lucky. You got parents my parents don't pay nothing for me. My parents do not make my money. All their money belongs to them. It has nothing to do with me. So when you see somebody having something, understand that there was always work put in. God is going to continuously bless them because they continue to put in that work, and they continue to put him at the center of all that they do. Y'all, this was just literally just me talking about my ideas and thoughts on financial literacy. I have so much more that I want to share with y'all. There's so much new things I've learned, and that I would love to just talk to y'all about and say, you know what? And honestly, what I think I'll do is even record another episode that goes deep into what to do with the dollar and the knowledge and the formula of how really, like, what I've done. And I'm not even going to speak for anybody else, but for what I've done and how it has changed the trajectory of my finances and how I move in life. And because there's some real deal stuff, y'all, and understanding that the moment you get, they say money don't make you happy, but that's a lie. Because when you have your money in order, a lot of things is just going to easily roll off your shoulder. There's not going to be anything that really bothers you like that. People are going to be able to talk to you funny. You're going to be looking at them like, okay, but my bank account is making me happy. Like, you don't understand. When you have that financial security, there's a whole different like way of breathing. You walk differently. You hold your head up high because you know what, my money isn't going to hurt me or leave me in the way people have or things have or these jobs have. Because understand that when you get fired from a job or lose a job, you're easy to replace. They probably already have your replacement, but your money's never going to do that to you. So get it in order. Have a love for money. Stop being scared to love money. We are taught that money is the root of all evil, but that is not true. The Bible is full of wealth. Like, it talks about wealth continuously over 2,500 times. It talks about wealth, how he was literally the most wealthiest man on earth. Understand that wealth is not a bad thing. Money is not the root of all evil. Like, I think people really and truly have to get that in their heads. Money is not the root of all evil. It's the person who holds the money that chooses to do evil things with it is why it can seem evil, or why people would say that. But money is not the root of all evilness. And honestly, I think money is the root to happiness if you really get in order. You don't have to have millions of dollars to be happy, but when your money is in order, your bills are paid, you have enough money for cushion in the sense of if something happens with your car, this and that, and you don't got to worry about risking your light bill or your water bill to fix your car tire. When you are in that position, that financial security, and I'm not going to say financial freedom, but that's financial security, it is a completely different space to be in as an adult, because now you have more time and mental capacity to think about your family, to love on your kids, to think about your dreams and goals, because you're not worried about if your bill's going to get paid. Understand what financial literacy and financial freedom does for a lot of people. Financial security, what it does for you as an individual. You will literally have the ability to be a completely different person and think differently because you're not worried about where your next meal is coming from. Y'all, this is the Real Talk Podcast. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Let's get into it. I hope to see y'all tune into the next episode. Y'all be breezy.